President Hanlon earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from Dartmouth in 1977 and later earned his PhD from the California Institute of Technology in 1981. He served on the faculty and held administrative positions at the University of Michigan for 20 years. He has been president of Dartmouth since June 10th, 2013, championing academic excellence and encouraging innovation and scholarship and teaching. He continues to serve on the faculty and teach mathematics courses. President Hanlon has been an honorary member of the Hanover Rotary Club since 2014. This is the 7th time that he has been able to speak to the club, and we hope there will be many more. So President Hanlon, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Dick, and good afternoon. It is always a pleasure to be with you. As Dick mentioned, this is my, I guess, 7th time or 8th time, and I wish we could be meeting in person, but that's not the hand we're dealt right now. So let's make the most of our time together, even though it's virtual. So the last time we met, it was January of 2020, and we at Dartmouth, we were just coming off like a very incredible year, our 250th anniversary year, and a slate of celebrations highlighting, I think, really one of the most exciting years in Dartmouth history. So then, last March, our most exciting year turned into our most challenging year. Within a breathtaking span of 72 hours, which I will never forget, the pandemic forced us to change virtually everything about the way we operate, how we teach, how we approach residential life, how our staff works, and of course, how we manage our finances in the face of significant economic challenges. So from the very beginning, we pledged to prioritize health and safety of our campus and the Upper Valley communities. And I think that was a guiding light throughout the last, very difficult year. Working closely and collaboratively with our colleagues at Dartmouth Hitchcock and with our community partners at the state and local level, we were able to develop and enact a plan that has allowed us to successfully operate with all of our grad students and nearly half of our undergraduates back on campus since last fall. And through the enforcement of masking, distancing, testing, and contact tracing, we have been able to keep COVID in large part at bay. The great thing is that those simple things, the masking, distancing, testing, contact tracing, they actually work. Not everything's been perfect, but every member of our community, I can say students, faculty, and staff alike, they've been working hard to do their part. And for that, I am so grateful. And our partnership and regular communication with Julia Griffin and her team has helped us beyond what I could express. As you probably know, and of course the pandemic has presented Dartmouth, along with many other businesses in this nation, some formidable challenges on the financial front that have forced us to make some difficult but really necessary decisions across campus. We instituted an across-the-board salary and hiring freeze last spring. We achieved significant savings in non-compensation expenditures and through leadership salary givebacks. We made the very difficult decision to close the Hanover Country Club. We've undertaken staff reductions and have been tightening our belts in many areas of campus and so on. It's hit really every corner of our campus. None has been easy. But I am confident that our actions were necessary in order for us to weather this storm. I know the pandemic has put tremendous financial strain on local businesses as well. And though I hope that our promise of the vaccine will slowly help our economy rebound, but towards that end, we must all work together to urge the state to speed the vaccination rollout so that we can safely bring our full population of students and staff back to Hanover as quickly as possible. On the operational front, I'm pleased to report that despite the challenges posed by the pandemic, we've really never lost sight of our mission and our long-term commitment to delivering an excellent education, an exceptional education for our students. Over the past 4 years, we've been attracting tremendous student talent to Dartmouth. Each year's incoming class seeming to surpass the last and being the most academically qualified in Dartmouth's history. This year is no different. We've seen a record number of applicants to Dartmouth this year, a 33% increase over last year. And we expect that the incoming class next fall is going to be truly exceptional. The way in which our faculty have adapted to remote teaching has been an inspiration for me. And I did teach in the fall as well. So I unfortunately had my colleagues to help coach me on how to do that. Our faculty continue, despite their strong commitment to teaching, to receive records number of external rewards for their path-breaking scholarly work as well. And their commitment to engaging students as full partners in their efforts to conduct scholarship that betters the world has really not wavered for a second over this past year. And despite the challenges of the past year, the full Dartmouth community, students, staff, and alumni alike, have continued to rally around our campus like never before. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful. As most of you know, we are nearly 3 years into the public phase of our Call to Lead campaign, which is the most ambitious fundraising campaign in Dartmouth's history. At this point, we've raised over $2.75 billion towards the $3 billion goal. Almost unimaginable numbers, but so critical given the global social and financial impacts of the pandemic over these last 12 months. So, what I would say is that things remain on track due to the really hard work of everyone in the Dartmouth community, the extended Dartmouth community, including alumni, and the Upper Valley community. And, it's not been an easy year. I think we all know that, and that's true in almost every phase of our lives. But we are showing resilience and resolve. And, I really credit so many people for working so hard during these difficult times. I did want to sort of end by updating you on 3 projects, capital projects of note, because I think you might be very interested. So first, let me talk about our green energy project. As some of you may know, our plans have evolved over the last 12 months after careful evaluation of rapidly evolving technological advances. We've determined that the previous plan, which called for a major single investment in a central biomass heating plant, was really not the right path forward. And so we've stopped that part of the project. We are committing and remaining strongly committed to our energy goals, and instead of the biomass plant, we prioritize the conversion to a hot water system for delivering energy around campus and improving the energy efficiency of our buildings. These 2 strategies combined will result in greater energy efficiency and more comfortable heating levels across campus, and will provide a flexible platform to adopt to new technologies going forward. So what I think over time, what I see over time, is that we are going to move away from a single central generation facility, and we will incorporate options for a distributed system of energy production that uses a range of sustainable energy sources, solar, wind, geothermal, and maybe some non-combustion type of energy sources. So, I think we are seeing this as we construct new buildings already being put in place, solar panels on the indoor practice facility, on the newly renovated Anonymous Hall, and in the new rowing facility, and that's only going to accelerate. Second, I want to update you on our plans for graduate student housing. So Michael's Student Living has begun construction on the property at Mount Support Road, with the development starting to take form. This is a major project. It will provide beds to more than 500 graduate students and their families, and is currently on track for an August 22 opening. Employing what's called a tenant waterfall, the project will prioritize Dartmouth graduate and professional school students And then remaining units will be offered to Dartmouth faculty and staff first, and then to Dartmouth Hitchcock employees, and then the general public. So the furnished units, there'll be a mix of 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom apartments. We'll have per bedroom rents of $1,000 to $1,400 a month, including most utilities and Wi-Fi, and with the larger apartments costing a little less per room. These additional units, when they're constructed, they will not only provide housing well suited to our grad students, but will ease the immense pressure on the Upper Valley housing market. And I know that it's almost unprecedented, the sort of demand, the unmet demand for housing in the Hanover area in particular. And lastly, let me report on the tremendous progress we're making towards realizing our vision for the west end of campus. That's the part of campus near Tuck and Thayer at the end of Tuck Drive. So there we're bringing together engineering, computer science, business, and entrepreneurship, really creating a nexus of collaboration, a revolution in how we think, teach, learn, and lead in those areas. And to enable this, we are constructing 2 major new facilities, one a computer science Thayer building, and then the second is a home for the Irving Institute for Energy and Society. And what I'm going to try to do is show you some photos just for a second. So I'm going to see if I can make this work. Okay, so here is what we're looking at here is an overhead shot of the new Thayer Computer Science building. For those of you who know the area, what you can see to the left are some of the dorms, and then straight ahead you can see McLean. And so that gives you a sense of how massive this building is. It's really a really gigantic building. It will house both the Thayer Engineering School and our Department of Computer Science and our Magnuson Entrepreneurship Center and the Dolly Lab, the Innovation Lab. Its interior design is really innovative. What I like about it is that it does not have the Thayer faculty in one part and then the computer science faculty in another. They're actually mixed, and they're mixed by topic. So there's a wing for cybersecurity, there's a wing for artificial intelligence, and so on. If you look up a little further, what you can see is also in blue is the Irving Institute building under construction. But let me move to a shot that I think will give a better view of that. Okay, so this is looking towards Baker Library. You can see Baker Library in the out in the distance. You can see Tuck Drive, which goes towards Baker. And then to your left here with the blue, that's the Irving Institute building. So it's going to sit right at the other end of Tuck Drive from Baker Library. And then over to the right, you see the building we were just looking at, the Thayer Computer Science building. And one more shot, I think. So this again, this shows the Irving building in the foreground with the blue and green, currently external cladding. That will change, of course, when the building's constructed. And then the Thayer Computer Science building straight ahead towards the top of the screen. So just in case you hadn't been there recently, I wanted to just give you an image of what those buildings look like. And they're coming along now. They're due to open officially sometime next fall. So that's great. Those are really coming along. That's exciting. Just looking ahead, what comes after that? Next up, I'd say, is more in the arts. So we've completed a truly transformative renovation of the Hood Museum, and we want to match that with an equally inspiring renovation of the Hop to achieve our aspirations for a really vibrant arts district. And the Hop is an amazing building. It's a huge building. It was path-breaking when it was constructed 60 years ago, but it is 60 years old now. And so it's getting long in the tooth. The technology does not match standards for modern performance. The kinds of spaces are not appropriate for students and faculty who are creating art. So it really needs a facelift. And so that's really the next major project on the horizon. Speaking of the HOP, I hope you've been able to take advantage of the new HOP at Home series, which emerged out of our pandemic and has been bringing an incredible array of live performing to your living room. So, there's of course a lot more I could touch on today, our ambitions around student financial aid, our investments in centers and institutes, but I actually want to give you time for questions and hear what's on your mind, what you may be wondering about Dartmouth and our planning, and any thoughts you have for me. So let me stop there. Thank you again for inviting me today. It's always great to meet with this group, and let me turn it back over to you. So.
Thank you, President Hanlon. That was a very interesting presentation. Who has questions? Just raise your hand. I can't see. Jinya.
Yeah.
I think my question has to do with the HOP, which, as we know, is an extraordinary building, and the Paddock Music Library, which has been such an integral part for not only faculty, students, but also community. So what's the plan?
So, Jean, thanks for that question. And what I know is that there's ongoing conversation, and there was a meeting yesterday, in fact, with the Department of Music and the dean and the dean of the faculty, Elizabeth Smith, and the provost, and the associate dean for the humanities and arts. And so I know they are looking for what the potential solutions are. I don't know that they've arrived at something just yet, but we're working on it.
Good, thank you.
Who else has questions? Jed. Jed, you're muted.
It's good that I'm muted. I have to ask about the progress with the change of the athletic teams and what's going on with that at this stage of the game.
Okay, Jed, thanks for that. The 5 teams have been reinstated, as you probably know. We have at this point secured coaches for 3 or 4 of them. But that's, sort of top priority is filling those coaching vacancies. The student athletes on all of our teams are, of course, very anxious to get back to competition. We understand that. I totally get it. I feel for them that for all of our teams that the Ivy League has not been competing, has not been able to compete this year. But I do expect that the fall with a full vaccination will bring us back to a more normal situation. But anything more specific, Jed?
No, just that the way it rolled out was probably you were blindsided to a certain extent on the whole Title IX thing, but that was quite a kerfuffle that we had there.
Yeah, it was. I think we were all disappointed to learn that we did not have the documentation in place to actually do a rigorous Title IX evaluation, and so that's it was disappointing to me and to many others, and so yeah, not our finest moment. I agree.
Who else has questions? Wayne.
I was interested to hear that you have a 33% increase, and I've read that a number of Ivy League schools waived the SAT as a requirement for application. And I wondered if Dartmouth was among that group. I can't recall whether they were, and what effect you think that might have had on the jump in applications?
Yeah, thanks, Wayne. And yes, we were amongst them. I think all of the Ivies, all of the Ivy Plus group. So if you include Stanford, Chicago, Duke, Emory, MIT, Caltech, everyone waived the SATs and ACTs this year as a requirement because the College Board, in fact, couldn't actually deliver the exams. And so I think it's a factor. There is another factor that's been sort of widely hypothesized, which is that because of the incredible uncertainty and turmoil of the last year, that student applicants are flocking to what they think is a sure thing. And they think an Ivy League degree is as close to a sure thing as you can get going forward. So that's the other hypothesis I've heard, which may be part of this phenomenal increase in applications that we've seen, many of our peers have seen.
Right. Other questions? Dick Podolak.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what is your best guess for the schedule going forward as far as getting students back, all the students back on campus and having live classroom learning?
Yeah, I think that the summer will be a transition, and that by the fall we will look roughly like we were pre-pandemic. So by that I mean having a full slate of students on campus, almost all of our classes in person. I don't know to what extent masking and those kinds of things will continue. I expect they will continue probably on and to some extent on into the future, but I expect we'll be back at athletic competition, that we'll be back to doing outdoor programs and freshman trips. And so I think look for the fall to be when we're fully back in business. And the summer, we always have a lower enrollment anyway. And so I think we'll end up with about 1,600 undergrads on campus this summer. Normally we have about 1,200, but we had some deferrals from last summer. So I think that we will see about 1,600 students on campus this summer, and certainly a much larger fraction of our classes in person as our faculty and staff become vaccinated.
Who else has a question? Bruce.
Yes, this is more of a comment than a question almost. For those of us who live near Icahn Pond, we were really pleased to see in the master plan that the part of the golf course nearest the pond was shown as a proposed arboretum. Can you share any more details about that?
So just, Bruce, that we're looking at the golf course property, and that we obviously want to make the best use of that property as possible. We know that, and we relish that it is used as an outdoor venue to a great extent. I've been cross-country skiing there this winter, which has been awesome. And, I think we all love walking through the course down into Pine Park. And so that is the plan for that area, at least in the foreseeable future. If you look at the golf course property as a whole, that area is the least developable. The most developable is the part along Route 10 there. So I think that's what we'd like to do, is say, okay, that's a beautiful outdoor space, and we would like people to use it as such.
Questions? Anybody? Trying to scroll back and forth between the two screens.
I know it's hard.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Wayne asked about the 33% increase in applications. Do you know how many students to admit? How confident are you that you're admitting the right number and you're not going to have too many acceptances or too few?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and it really, you've hit on something really important, which is our change in yield over the last 7 years. And so the yield is of the students we admit, the fraction who decide to enroll. And for many, many decades, our yield was 50%. So about half the students we admitted decided to enroll at Dartmouth. Starting in around 2014, that yield has been on a steady increase to the mid 60s, so 65% in our most recent year. So that's a phenomenal increase in yield. There are places that will brag about a 5% increase in yield. So 15% is really kind of unprecedented. It's had the unfortunate effect that it means that we could admit fewer students. So we're now, probably this year, we'll admit about 6% of the applicants, which is really tough on those who are not admitted. I understand that. To your exact question, what do we predict with yield? And we really, the best indicator we have is last year. So we'll probably expect the same amount. We have a wait list, which always buffers us on if we under enroll. We might over enroll. That'll be tough logistically, but it's a good problem to have. It's a better problem to have to over enroll than under enroll.
Thank you. Any other last questions? Yes, William Young.
Good morning. We've been talking about academics. The pandemic has had obviously impact on recreational activities at the college and the community. College did some great things down on the green with ice skating and so forth, but unfortunately, we couldn't congregate on Ockham Pond this year. The decision was wisely made not to gather people there, but we're looking forward to what you're thinking next year. A lot of kids in the community have been asking, and we're, am I on mute? No, okay. And the Rotary actually gets involved very actively in the pond party and so forth. Any insights to what happened, pandemic depending?
Yeah, so William, it's probably a little early to tell, but what I can tell you is I love having Ockham Pond used during the winter. I think it's really awesome. And I personally hope we can get back to that. I expect we will continue skating on the green. That's an experiment which seemed to work really well with our students, but there's no reason we can't do both.
Thank you.
President Hanlon, thank you so much. As always, your presentations are fascinating and full of important information. We all love Dartmouth College, and we wish you the very best. Thank you for coming, and we're going to move to club business now. You're welcome to stay on if you like.
I'll cut out, but thanks to all of you. It's always great to see you. And, the partnership between the Upper Valley and the college is so important. And, this group helps make it happen. So thank you all.